Okay, so today we need to learn about methods. I know, I said the word functions. Okay, let me give you an idea. Here's the idea. I have some stuff in my program, like an input kind of thing, and I would like to turn that into an output kind of thing. From math class, this is the idea of a function. Do you guys know examples of functions in processing? Kinda.
So input your suggestions and then output something on the screen.
Yeah, exactly. So like text, right? Takes what does text take?
A string.
A string and
Coordinates.
And what? Makes it appear in the window, kind of? So the output on these is a little bit funky, right? You guys see that? This is not quite a math function, right? Like in math land, I might be talking about taking numbers and squaring them, right? So the input is some number and the output is that number squared. You guys see that? In here, the output might be a little bit more vague. Usually it's the computer does something, or maybe it gives me a number back. You guys all good with this? I claim that actually processing doesn't have functions. So it actually has methods. What's the difference between a method and a function? A method's associated with an object, but you guys don't know anything about objects yet, right? Okay, so for right now, a method's a function. Don't sweat the difference. Later we'll worry about this more. It turns out that processing doesn't actually have functions at all, despite what it tells you, because processing is itself an object. Don't sweat this distinction for now. Just I'm being pedantic about it. So my claim is you guys already have a format for these things. What do I need in order to get my sketch working in active mode? Okay, I need a void setup parentheses brackets and a void draw parentheses brackets. Okay, these things are methods. Void setup and void draw. Really, those are setup is the name of the setup method, and the draw is the name of the draw method. The void is doing something, and so is this set of empty parentheses. You guys cool with that? Right now, what do I expect my program here to do? What do I expect this sketch to do? Yeah, this is going to bring up the default window. Why is it going to do that? Yeah, because that's what processing does by default. You guys cool with that? Okay, so I'm going to just make that window a little prettier. So I'm going to do a size, and I'm going to go with 900, 600. And I'm going to make the background white. Okay, so now that I'm thinking function land, let me think about those two things. Size takes two inputs. What are the two inputs in this case?
X and Y position.
Okay, in general, they're an X width and a Y height, right? In this case, what are they? Like very specifically, right here, I'm passing two numbers. 900 and 600. You guys see that? And what's it doing with that? What's the output for this?
It's resizing the screen.
Yeah, this is changing the size of the window. You guys all with me on that? What's the background function here doing? Yeah, it's setting the color of the background to whatever 255 is. You guys cool with that? Okay, now I am mega frickin' tired of drawing circles by writing ellipse, So if I wanted to draw a circle in the middle, right, I'd write ellipse, width over 2, comma, height over 2, comma, 20, comma, 20. Okay, what is the goal of that line of code? Like if I was going to comment this, what's that supposed to do?
Draw some ellipse in the middle with diameter 20.
Yeah, kinda. Except for my complaint is one word you said, Adam. It doesn't draw an ellipse of diameter 20. This thing draws a circle, right? Okay, but dude, I am super freaking tired of typing the word ellipse to get it to draw a circle. You guys all with me on that? Like, that's been annoying. It's still annoying. I want to fix it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a method called circle. Okay, so just copying what I've got up here. Right? I'm going to say void circle parentheses brackets. You guys good with this? Okay, so first things first, what do I expect that part of my code to do?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. If I push run on this, what do I expect my whole sketch to do?
To draw a window, 900x600 with a white background and ellipse.
Good. It's going to draw a 900/600 window that's white with an ellipse in the center of it. Well, really a circle. It's a circle still. Okay, and it's a little bit small, so I'm going to crank that to 200 just because. Okay, circle, check. Okay, my portion of my code that says circle is not doing anything. You guys see that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write myself a function to draw a circle. How have I been drawing circles?
Ellipse.
With the command ellipse. So I'm going to take this ellipse nonsense, I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to paste it in here. You guys all see that? Okay, what do I expect this block of code to do? Close. Make a window with a white background. And then what's it going to draw? Nothing. Why is it not going to draw anything? I didn't tell it to draw anything. You guys see that?
Yeah.
So I want to draw a circle. How do you make it draw a circle? Yeah, I need to run the circle method. How do you run a method? How did you run the background method up top?
You type in the name of the method and then
You type in the name of the method with parentheses, and then in the parentheses, what do you need to give it?
Variables.
You need to give it what it's expecting. You guys see that? Circle is not expecting anything. How do I know circle's not expecting anything? One, it's not whining. If I put 23 in here, it would say function circle does not expect any parameters. Why doesn't the circle function expect any parameters? Dude, nice. Because you didn't tell it to expect anything. You guys see that? Okay, so if I run this, what do I expect it to do now? Okay, there's going to be setup stuff. I'm going to stop talking about setup stuff. And then I expect it to call the circle method. And then in the circle method, this thing's going to run that draws an ellipse. Right? Okay. Sick. Same result. Cool. All right. Next thought. So right now, circle doesn't take anything. I hard-coded how big that circle was. So now we're going to do what's called a variable pass. So I'm going to teach it to take an input. You guys good with that? So I'm going to pass it 153. And it's going to whine. Why is it whining?
Because it doesn't expect any parameters.
Because it doesn't expect any parameters. So how do I make it expect some parameters?
Clear some inside the circle method.
Nice. In here, you need to tell it what it's expected. So what are you expecting to hand it? What kind of thing are you going to hand it?
Two floats in there.
Yeah, you might hand it a float. Okay, and this is where things get weird. Because you don't want to tell it to expect the float 153.
That's oddly specific.
It's oddly specific. It matches this 153, right?
Can you number the variable names?
No.
Oh.
That's why it's annoyed. So it's annoyed because I'm trying to use 153 as the name of a variable. So what do I actually want that to be?
Exposition.
Oh, I might want it to be the x position. I'm going to try to change the diameter. So I'm going to pass it a float that I'm going to call diameter. And then it's telling me the variable of the parameter diameter is not used. So, oh, I should use it? That seems stupid. All right, where do I want to use diameter?
For the width and the height of the circle.
For the width and the height. And you have to spell diameter the same way. Doesn't matter if it's right, it just has to be the same. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't have to be a word, right? You got to name your variable. You can name it whatever the heck you want, even if it doesn't make any sense. I would stay away from alphanumeric variable names. Just saying. Like, don't make random variable names. Let's see. So now if I run this, what do I expect? Yep, so it's going to run the circle method, and it's going to pass along 153. 153 is going to become in the circle method this value of the variable diameter. And then we're going to draw an ellipse at width over 2, height over 2, and then diameter in this method is 153. Please keep in mind that's in this method. If you use the variable diameter elsewhere, it won't know what's happened in here. So I expect a smaller circle. Y'all good with this? You want to put that in a for loop? You want to make a bunch of circles?
Yes.
Okay.
I have an excellent function you can give it.
Okay, hang on. So I would like to draw a circle at x, comma, y, comma, diameter. Right? Okay, so how do I pass, instead of 153, say 187, comma, 342, comma, 153. So say I want this to be an x, y, and a diameter.
Yeah, you have to make variables for the x position and y position of the circle.
Okay, so down here, right, in your circle method, you have to tell it to expect more stuff. And you get to name what it's expecting. So I'm going to say you're going to expect a float x, a float y, and a float diameter. And then it's whining that the parameter x and y aren't used. So use them. So put them into the x and the y. Cool. Run. Should make circle. Okay, and then if you're really on it, you'll put this junk in a for loop, right? Okay. Let me show you guys another separate thing. You can make new tabs up here. Oh, hang on. Let me save this as something. Desktop. This is circle example. Okay. Once your code gets really complicated, I would advise you take some of the bits of it and put them in new tabs. So this is a way of keeping organized. This does not specifically make the code run in any real different manner, but it does give you a way to stay a little more organized. So usually for me, I have a setup and a draw in my kind of main file, and then everything else I make I'll put into one tab or another and name them reasonably so I can keep track of what's where. What do I expect this to do? Yeah, this should do the exact same thing. I'll be surprised if it's broke. Okay, cool. Then you might modify this code to what? How would I make random circles all over the place?
You need to do a for loop.
Okay, so I need a for loop.
It would mean the input of how many times. Oh no, just that.
No, it's annoyed. It's like what?
No, you can do a for loop and have the circle be random. No, you need to do an array and fill it with random variables and pick random. And iterate through them.
You don't necessarily need to make a random array. So what I'm going to do is the lazy man's way of doing this. So I'm going to, every time I call the circle method, I'm going to ask it to draw this at a random width up to the width, a random up to the height, and a random, let's see, diameters up to, I don't know, 300 maybe. You guys all with this? Sure. And you guys, I think, have a preferred random color method, which is to do RGB randoms.
Yeah, of course.
And then, does this work?
I hope not.
It's not complaining.
For loop is not.
Let's try it. Oh, it is complaining about the for loop. How does a for loop work? What are the three pieces?
A initializer, test, and
Okay, initializer, start at 0,
test and an update.
a test, so that's I less than, I don't know, 20, and I plus plus. So initializer, test condition, and stepper.
What is I doing though?
It's only going to be 20 seconds.
Yeah, what's I doing? It's not, I'm not using it down here at all, right?
Yes.
So every time this loops through, I's not going to do anything except go up by 1. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a random color, and then I'm going to call the circle method at a random x, a random y, with a random radius. I just lied to you.
Random diameter.
It's a diameter, not a radius. So, Joe God. Problem?
60 times a second.
Problem? Why is it doing that? Oh God, stop, stop.
Isn't
Exactly what you told it to do.
It is doing exactly what I told it to do, which is 60 times a second, right? Because of the draw method. It is drawing 20 circles.
Yeah, so 1800 circles.
So lots of circles. It's probably not managing 60 times a second. Why is it probably not managing 60 times a second?
That's ridiculous.
Because that's a lot of circles. So
No loop.
if I wanted to... Chris, say that louder.
No loop.
If I wanted to stop this, I might do no loop.
No loop.
No op. What does that no loop function do?
Is that but why is it in setup? Setup doesn't.
Yeah, why is it in setup? This turns the draw method's looping behavior off no matter where you put it. So,
It's not easily toggleable.
yeah, and no loop is not a very easily toggleable method. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to toggle. You can toggle it. It just takes some doing. You could do mouse pressed or something and change the value.
I think that's what I did with my dance earlier.
Okay, cool. Check.
Yeah, it's a no loop.
Okay, let me one more thing here.
Why did you
Actually, let me just make a new sketch. I'm gonna stop.